Hello listeners and welcome back. Today we are going to be discussing my February movie wrap-up. Every movie I watched that stood out or was a first time watch. The good, the bad, and the totally unexpected. Let's get into it. Uptown Girl is such an underrated early 2000s film. It stars Brittany Murphy as Molly, a bubbly, irresistible socialite who suddenly loses everything, and Dakota Fanning as Ray, the overly mature child she ends up nannying. What I love most about this film is the role reverse. Molly has to grow up, while Ray slowly learns how to be a kid. Underneath the cute outfits and funny humor, the story touches on grief, abandonment, and learning to open up emotionally. Brittany Murphy is the heart of the film. She brings so much charm and vulnerability to Molly that you can't help but root for her. It's not a perfect movie, and it can feel a bit cheesy at times, but it is genuinely heartfelt and comforting. Overall, it's one of those nostalgic films that hits a little deeper when you rewatch it as an adult. Angus, thongs, and the perfect snogging. This movie is the peak of chaotic teenage energy. The movie follows Georgia Nicholson as she navigates boys, popularity, embarrassing parents, and the overall drama that comes with being 14. This movie is awkward, loud, and unapologetically boy-obsessed. Georgia is dramatic and a little self-absorbed, but it feels realistic for a teenager who thinks every small problem is the end of the world. The humor is very British, very cringy, and very fun. It's not super deep, but it perfectly captures the intense, dramatic, butterflies in your stomach feeling of your first crush. Overall, it's a cute, messy, coming-of-age rom-com that doesn't take itself too seriously, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Zombieland. Zombieland is one of the most fun zombie movies out there because it doesn't try and take itself overly seriously. It mixes horror and comedy perfectly, giving us brutal kills 1 minute and a genuinely hilarious moment the next. Starring Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin, the cast has amazing chemistry. Woody Harrelson as Tallahassee absolutely steals the show. His obsession with Twinkies alone is iconic.
Snowballs? Where's the fucking Twinkies?
What makes it stand out is its self-awareness, the rules popping up on screen, the slow-motion action scenes, and the unexpected celebrity cameo all makes it feel fresh and creative. At its core though, it's really about found family and learning to trust people in a chaotic world. It's fast, funny, a little gory, and super rewatchable. Definitely a perfect pick if you like your horror with a big side of comedy. Zombieland 2 Double Tap. The second installment brings back the original gang almost 10 years later, and it's honestly a fun reunion. In this sequel, we are introduced to new types of zombies and even new characters. The over-the-top humor makes it feel bigger and a little bit more ridiculous. The action is fun, self-aware, and still has some genuinely funny moments, like Elvis's shoes.
Are you jealous that I have the exact same size shoe as Elvis Presley?
No, it's not like those are Elvis's actual shoes.
And the character pairings.
Remind you of...
I don't like you at all.
It's not quite as fresh and good as the original, but it's a solid, easy, comforting sequel that's fun to watch if you loved the first one. Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat is chaotic, very chaotic. Starring Mike Myers as the Cat in the Hat, this live-action adaptation of the classic Cat in the Hat turns a simple children's story into a loud, bizarre early 20s fever dream. Visually, it's colorful and exaggerated with over-the-top sets and costumes that feel almost cartoonish. Mike Myers fully commits to the role. The humor is weird, clever, and fun. A lot of jokes feel more aimed for adults, which makes the tone kind of confusing. As a kid, it might feel fun and silly. Watching it as an adult, it's either nostalgic chaos or slightly uncomfortable chaos. There's really no in between. Overall, however, it's a messy, strange, and not exactly accurate adaptation, but it is definitely memorable. The Karate Kid Legend 2024 release. This new Karate Kid isn't exactly the blockbuster reboot we hoped it would be, but it's still an interesting legacy entry that tries to balance nostalgia with a new story. It brings back familiar faces such as Ralph Macchio as Daniel LaRusso and Jackie Chan as Mr. Han, while centering on a newcomer, Ben Wang, as Li Fong, a young martial artist trying to find his place in New York City after moving from Beijing. He struggles to find his place in a new city with new relationships and new rivals. And speaking of new rivals, you can't tell me that this new bad guy doesn't look exactly like Terry Silver from the originals. If I hadn't seen what happened to Silver in the TV show Cobra Kai, I would have honestly said this might have been his son. Overall, if you go into this film expecting pure nostalgia with new original fight scenes and likable characters, you'll most likely enjoy yourself. But if you're hoping for the philosophical depth and classic storyline of the original Karate Kid, this doesn't quite reach those highs. Still, it's a solid, feel-good martial arts film. Airplane. Airplane is pure non-stop comedy chaos. This classic parody is absurd and still incredibly funny decades later. The film thrives on rapid-fire gags, visual puns, and completely ridiculous dialogue. Leslie Nelson's supporting role as Dr. Rumak is legendary, delivering some of the most creative comedic lines in comedy history. It's the kind of movie that rewards multiple viewings because there's so much happening in every scene. The jokes are timeless and it sets the standard high for future comedy parodies. If you love clever absurdities and relentless silliness, Airplane is an absolute must-watch. Chaotic, fun, and endlessly funny. How to Train Your Dragon, the 2025 live action. In this adaptation, it brings the beloved How to Train Your Dragon world to life in a bold new way. Keeps the heart of the story while adding epic visuals and CGI dragons that feel tangible and majestic. The film excels in its breathtaking aerial sequences. Flying with Toothless over Berk feels immersive and thrilling. The emotional core remains strong, focusing on friendship, acceptance, and learning to see the world differently. Most plots follow the original, which makes it nostalgic for fans. It is the perfect mix of action, humor, and emotion. Plus, seeing the dragons come to life on screen is magical. Fans of the animated series will find plenty to love, and newcomers can easily be swept away by the adventure. The Lego Ninjago movie. It is a colorful animated adventure that takes the ninja action of the Lego world into a family story. It follows Lloyd, the Green Ninja, and his squad as they try to stop the evil Lord Gomador, who happens to be Lloyd's dad. The animation is lively and full of energy, with big action scenes, cool battles, and there are genuinely funny moments and some clever gags, plus a lot of heart underneath all of the bricks. If you're after a fun flick with bright visuals and plenty of action, it hits those beats well. The emotional bits between Lloyd and Garmadon are surprisingly meaningful for a Lego movie. But overall, it is fun, funny, colorful, and great for Lego lovers. Jurassic Park Rebirth. On the plus side, the movie delivers some beautiful visuals and big set pieces. The dinosaur effects are impressive, and there are moments like the water chase and cliffhanger action that are thrilling and cinematic, and gives a slight nod to the original vibe which fans appreciate. The catch is, the story and characters fell flat. The pacing felt lagged in parts, or the emotional stakes weren't high enough to make you care deeply about the character's fate. In short, it's great for fans wanting dinosaurs, action, and nostalgia. But if you're wanting something with deeper characters or a truly original spin on the franchise, you might walk away disappointed. Playing Dirty. Playing Dirty is, in my opinion, an underrated, gritty action heist thriller, starring Mark Wahlberg as Parker, a thief who assembles a crew to pull off a huge score after being betrayed on his previous job. It's packed with shootouts, car chases, betrayals, and a lot of mayhem. Exactly what you expect and need in an action thriller. The movie delivers big action, fast pacing, brutal confrontation, bold action sequences, and snappy funny one-liners. There is plenty for one to enjoy, and whether it clicks for you will depend on how much you enjoy wild, unpredictable action thrillers. But if you ask me, would highly recommend. Eternity. Eternity is a whimsical comedy that adds an interesting twist on the afterlife. In this world, after you die, you are taken to a halfway point. There, you are given options to where you want to spend eternity. The catch is, however, once you choose your eternity, you can't leave. It stars Elizabeth Olsen as Joan, a woman that gets stuck in the afterlife where she must decide between spending eternity with her devoted husband Larry, played by Miles Teller, or her passionate first love Luke, played by Callum Turner. The world building is one of the film's most strongest points. It's playful and imaginative. The tone generally balances light comedy with genuine emotion and great chemistry, but I will say at times it felt like it was a bit long and drawn out, especially when it came to who Joan was going to pick. They played around with the concept too much for too long, particularly when it was obvious to most who she was meant to be with. If you love rom-coms with a twist, Eternity gives you exactly that. Laughs, pretty visuals, and moments that will make you think about love, memory, and the choices we make. It's not perfect, and some parts are a bit slow, but it's still a warm, feel-good movie with enough originality to make it worth the watch. The Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew is a loud, action-loaded, brotherly flick built around the on-screen pairing of Jason Momoa and David Bautista as estranged half-brothers who reunite in Hawaii after their father's mysterious death. Streaming on Prime Video, it leans into the classic action comedy territory. The brothers' dynamic is the heart of the movie. Their banter brings plenty of energy, not to mention there is non-stop over-the-top action and car sequences to keep you entertained. If you're in the mood for big explosions and muscular chaos rather than a deep storyline, this delivers. Plus, the Hawaiian setting is a nice touch, though some find the writing, pacing, and CGI scenes lacking polish, and the humor doesn't always hit. This isn't a deep movie. If you want something fun to watch with friends, enjoy explosives and likable leads, it's a solid choice. Overall, it's a decent watch, ideal for kicking back and not overthinking. Plus, as an added bonus, we get a Stargate and Atlantis crossover with Jason Momoa, Marina Baccarin. The Roofman is one of those true stories that feels like a work of fiction. It stars Channing Tatum as Jeffrey Manchester, an army veteran turned McDonald's robber who earned his nickname by cutting into the roofs of the establishments he was going to rob. After escaping prison, he lives undetected inside a Toys R Us for 6 months while plotting his next move, while also striking up a relationship with a single mother played by Kirsten Dunst. The movie mixes comedy, drama, and crime in an oddly heartfelt way. Pairing the bizarre real-life story and Tatum's charm, it shifts between quirky and emotional, and while it's not constantly laughable, it's still engaging thanks to its strong performances and the humanity at its story's core. If you go in expecting a typical crime comedy, Roofman surprises. It's a quirky pick that balances its absurd premise with emotional weight, perfect for viewers who like quirky dramas with heart. Hot Shots Deluxe Edition. Hot Shots Part Deluxe picks up the absurd rapid-fire parody vibes of the first film and cranks it up. Instead of taking off one main movie, it plays on Rambo-style action, classic war movies mixed with random pop culture jokes. People either laugh non-stop or roll their eyes at how unhinged it gets. Perhaps both. The characters barely have depth, but that's the point. It's all about the comedy. It's not a polished or sophisticated movie, and it knows it. It leans into it. Fun for fans of the genre. It's a good nostalgic watch that doesn't take itself seriously. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. To be honest, I only rewatched Tokyo Drift because of all of the memes that have overtaken the internet out of nowhere. It's definitely one of the top when it comes to the Fast franchise. If you haven't seen this movie, you are definitely missing out. So if you need convincing, in short, we follow Sean, a rebellious American teen sent to Tokyo, Japan to avoid jail, and quickly gets drawn into the world of drift racing and intense rivals. It's perfect if you like cars, racing sequences, and drifting action. Plus, if you haven't seen the rest of the Fast franchise, can be loosely watched as a standalone. The Housemaid. I did go into this having read the book first. Because of this, I already knew the twist of the movie and instead went in with the expectation of the accuracy to the book and just general curiosity on how they were going to adaptate the world and characters, particularly Andrew's for me. I don't know why, but ever since I had heard it was going to be made into a movie, I was intently curious on how they were going to adapt that character on screen. Upon that, the only other thing I heard was the huge hype on Amanda Seyfried's performance. Now having watched the movie, I understand the hype of not only Amanda's performance as Nina, but the overall adaptation and movie itself. I really enjoyed this in both accuracy and as a movie. The flow, scenes, and outcome of the movie followed very closely to the books, yet still managed to surprise me when it came to some scenes. If you have not read the books, but still love thrillers that blend mystery, twisted drama, and a bit of steaminess, this is the movie to watch. It's stylish and seductive with enough twists to keep you guessing and surprised till the very end. Focus. Focus is a stylish crime romance about cons, trust, and deception. Will Smith plays Nikki, a slick pickpocketer and con artist who takes Jess, played by Margot Robbie, under his wing by teaching her the trick of the trade. They spark not just tricks, but genuine chemistry, until messy breakup sends them in different directions. Years later, their paths cross again during a high-stakes job. This film mixes slick visuals, clever heists, and a seductive tone. Plus, the cat and mouse game between Nikki and Jess keeps you guessing on how it'll all play out. If you like movies with smooth talk, stylish cons, chemistry, and cool twists, Focus is the perfect watch. Fallout Season 2. When it comes to shows, the only one I've completed in full is Fallout Season 2. The reason it wasn't part of my January wrap-up is because I waited until it was released in full before watching it. Now, I won't say much because I actually have more in-depth videos about my thoughts and opinions coming very soon. But I will say that it was really good, lived up to the first season, and I can't wait to see what's to come next. Well, that's everything I've watched this month. Some I've seen and others being first-time watches. Some surprised me and others were just fun, but overall a very enjoyable movie month. Let me know what you have been watching lately, and have you seen any of the movies I mentioned? And do you have any recommendations on what I should watch next?
That is all for this episode. As always, everything we discussed will be linked below along with my socials. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Feel free to leave all your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening.